I am Samantha Tiara, and you are joining us on another episode of Chats. Now, today I have two very special guests. I'm super duper excited to have this opportunity to speak with them, and yes, I said super duper.
I like it.
I have the amazing dynamic duo, Earl and Ro Townsend. How are you both doing today?
Exhausted.
Exhausted.
Yet amazing.
Yeah.
Exhausted,
Super
amazing.
blessed.
Super blessed.
Super blessed.
Right.
I love those words, those adjectives, those words. I love all of that. Now, you both are extremely busy. Extremely busy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to jump right into your busyness and how you first, started to become busy.
Okay.
So let's talk about the dynamic duo of you two. How did you, first form ROE as far as everything that you're doing? Because you guys have a lot going on. You're artists, you're caterers, you do a lot of things within the community. Tell us a little bit about how that came to be.
Well, in 2012, we started dating after a long time of being in and out of each other's lives. We met in high school. And once he jumped into my life, I was like, hey, so I kind of do a lot already. And I taught him how to do chocolate and truffles and things that I was making by hand because Christmas was coming up and he was already culinarily inclined. So once we were doing that, we were pumping out sweets by the masses. We were like, wait, maybe we should come up with a name and maybe a business card. And because I'm not Rose Many Hats anymore, there's two of us now, because that's what it was. Before it was Rose Many Hats. And then we came up with Roe Creations, R-O-E.
Nice.
And that was the beginning of our catering company. And then we went on to do catering for 5 years. We actually just phased out of that a couple of months ago.
Yeah, we phased out to focus on more of the community organizing and the community aspect of our gifts and talents. So it's been an amazing ride. It's been an amazing ride.
Awesome. And we are definitely going to get into that a little bit later in the interview. But before we do, Ro, you were recently honored by January York at the annual Lit Ball.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that experience. How was that for you?
It was such a beautiful, beautiful evening. And it was unlike any event I've ever planned, attended, been a part of. It was amazing. So there were around 150 people or so in the room, everyone dressed to the T in ball gowns and suits. And just the fact that so many of us kind of like unsung behind the scenes people who kind of actually shy away from the limelight were being honored in that way was pretty special. Mm-hmm. I was nervous. I was very nervous because of the responsibility that I felt was attached to that award, Inner City Humanitarian. I'm like, wow, I really need to live up to that. I need to make sure I'm doing this honor justice and continue to live it out through the vision of the people. So
Absolutely, and I think you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
Now, really quickly, speaking of that ball and just how it's all about women's empowerment, in your opinion, how do you think, we as women, how we can actually come together in a collaborative spirit instead of, kind of being at each other?
I think part of that is addressing hurts so that we can know how to deal with other people. Because if we're still dealing with misconceptions, preconceptions, past hurts and wounds, we will not be able to effectively deal with each other. And I think that's where the breakdown amongst women happens. We deal with a lot, we internalize a lot, and then we operate from that place. We operate from a place of hurt. And so in order to not continue to be hurt, we put up all these guards. But events like that and situations like that where women can empower women and speak life into each other makes us a little more comfortable in being vulnerable so that we can foster these relationships and so that we can be a part of each other's lives because we need each other.
Absolutely. And kind of going onto you a little bit, Earl, you were actually one of the hosts for the ball. How was that experience, being, the man there, to see the women there? How was that experience for you to be able to witness that?
Wow, amazing question. It was nothing short of motivating to just see women that I'm so close to, women that I've admired from afar, women who are in my life every day, to know the things that they do and to see them be honored and just to see them being loose and them being happy and them being free and loving. It was motivation and it was encouragement for things that I may want to plan in the future. And anytime January York does something, it's amazing and it's successful, and it was an honor. It was absolutely an honor.
So Earl, you've created a very similar event, Claim the Throne. Tell us a little bit about that event and how it came into fruition.
Claim the Throne was definitely inspired by January York's Lit Ball. It's an event that I put together to honor 30 men in our community who are just champions of everything that they do. They're champions of children's advocacy. They're champions of youth involvement. They're champions of social justice. Men like Brandon Randall, he works heavily with Bloom Project. Dominic Dorsey, who works with Don't Sleep. Eric Saunders, who's worked with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. There are so many men who've just inspired me to claim my throne, to be in a position where I could do exactly what it is I'm supposed to do in my community, and I wanted to step out and honor them. So we're going to get together Sunday, and we're going to have a beautiful awards ceremony and hand out awards and have wonderful performers and get dressed up the way we know to get dressed up and just love on each other.
Absolutely. That is amazing. That is so amazing. Also very, very inspiring. So really big kudos to you in the creation of that. And I think that that is something that our community needs. So thank you so much for that. Now, another question. This is kind of a collective question for the both of you. You both do so much within the communities as far as, working with the youth and just, things of that nature. What do you feel that our communities are lacking?
Loaded question because it is multifaceted. There are layers to this thing. I think our communities are lacking unity, resources, ears. I think a lot of people struggle in silence because they have trust issues, so they feel unheard. They don't know who to go to, when to go to them. Pride allows us to operate in a very me, myself, and I got this kind of a spirit. And I think that one of the primary things that our community is lacking is the ability to break those strongholds so that we can feed into each other. It sounds so cliche because people have made it almost like a fad now, but we really do need to get back to a village mentality. Yeah. And if we are feeding into each other, providing for each other, listening to each other, that's what will repair our community. The neighborhood that we live in and that we serve, the Martin Luther King, Clifton Raider neighborhood, is when we first moved over there a couple of years ago, actually 3 years now, there was a very strong independent spirit, even amongst the teenagers. And that was the part that was really heartbreaking. We would see teenagers that are out robbing and stealing and things, but it's just because they don't have food at home.
Right.
They're doing that because grandma is raising me, but she's bound to the bed because of her disabilities. There were all of these layers.
Right.
And I think that's what we seek to do, is to try to address some of it. We can't fix it all. We can't save the world. We can't even single-handedly save our own neighborhood, but we can work with other people and organizations to make an impact. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be a voice and ears and ambassadors and links to resources. And that's what we aim to do.
Right. And so speaking of that, tell us a little bit about some of the programs that you guys have that you offer to the youth in the community.
We, of course, also, people knew us as Ro Creations, but like Ro said earlier, we've kind of phased the catering aspect out here recently, and we are basically all just head first into Groe Inc., which is our nonprofit organization. And right now our focus is on nutritional supplementation for kids after school and nutritional information for children. And we do a snack program where we feed kids in our neighborhood 3 days a week. And we just stand out on our corner in 34th and Clifton and just hand out snack bags to the community in the neighborhood. And we're trying to, right now we're in the phase of funding so we can start reaching out to some of the schools and implementing the same programs in the schools.
Wow, that is very phenomenal. That's very, very phenomenal. Now, to kind of switch gears a little bit, let's talk about the arts. How important do you think arts are in the community and how they play a role in our community as well?
Pivotal. Art saves lives.
Yeah.
Art saves lives, whether it's writing and getting your emotions out, whether it's in a journal, poetry, rap, writing music, art saves lives. We have neighbors and friends who paint and are phenomenally talented, and that's also a means for them to express themselves. And that's another thing that we struggle with, is we deal with these things on our own. We deal with the things that life throws us on our own, and so we need an outlet. That's everybody across the board. So we take arts very seriously. We are very artistic ourselves. So we often will even have like porch sets, like mini open mic sets on our porch, where whoever is walking by can be a part of it. The day that we moved over there, we had a set on our porch and we fired up the grill. I had my violin out. He was doing poetry. A couple of other friends were doing poetry. There was a rap battle. There were some guys who were trying to sell cable, telephone, something. We pulled them up on the porch. They got some food. There were some other guys across the street that had never seen a violin in real life before. We called them over. They requested some songs. We played them. So art builds fellowship. It's an outlet. And it is also something that is being eliminated so heavily throughout traditional structures that it needs to be re-implemented in other places non-traditionally. And that's another thing that we seek to do, because we also do private lessons and writing workshops and things like that, because particularly amongst the children, they need that. They need that. And even things like learning music helps children process math. And so there are lots of parallels, and that's why I feel that arts are pivotal. What do you think?
I think it's pivotal because the art that whatever artist is doing, for that artist, it's a healing process.
Right.
You know, people convey their emotions through their art. And so if it's true that hurt people, it's also true that healed people heal people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so if they're being able to use their art, use their voice, use their music to heal themselves, then they can heal the community that they're in.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And I also believe that art can also help heal communities as well. So, absolutely. Now, I want to talk about something. This is really interesting. You guys have combined your love of the arts, your love of community, and passion. You've created an annual event, and I want to get this right, called the Open Bite Night.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Open Bite Night. Of course, there's food involved, but tell us a little bit about that.
Open Bite Night is our current labor of love. It's the thing that pushes us. It's the thing that motivates us. It was conceptualized sitting on one of our good friends' couches in our living room, and Ro had this idea where we were like, you know, people go through open mics to express themselves, you know, and poetry has open mics, singing has open mics, rappers have open mics. What about the culinary arts? Because it's artistic, you know, so where's their platform? And we also knew what it took for us to get to where we are. You know, at that point in time, we were heavily catering. So, you know, we knew the steps that it took. So we just wanted to give the cooks a platform to come out and show what it is that they do. And in the interim, while they're coming out to show what it is that they do, we also try to plan it out to where we give them steps and mentorship. And this is the route you have to go to get this permit. And this is the route you have to go to get this licensure. And we just came up with this event, and we started off on the corner of our block again, 34th and Clifton. And because we threw events and we really didn't have a kind of a set idea of what this one was going to be, we were like, okay, 50, 75 people might show up. It's going to be a good time. You know, we normally have 30, 40 people at the house on a given basis. So, you know, yeah. So, you know, this will be a good time. And 300 people showed up.
Wow. So literally, we can say that your block is hot, literally.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Block is hot, literally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, you have a lot going on in your block, basically.
That was just the first one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going on the third one. The second one was actually a couple months later. We moved it down the block to Roche and Burton, which is still in the MLK Clifton Raider area. And we blocked off the street, and we had vendors out and cooks out and performers out, and we ended up with like 1,100 people.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Wow, that's a very big surge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is
Absolutely.
amazing. that is phenomenal. Now I want to switch gears a little bit also. Again, you've recently published a book. Tell us a little bit about your book, Put Some Shoes On. Take us through that experience of what is the book about and how was that writing process for you?
Put Some Shoes On, yeah. So the title, it's my autobiography / testimony / inspiration guide. It's a lot of things. It was given to me by God. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that this was a God project, because I didn't want to do it at all. For years, people had been telling me I needed to write a book. I didn't feel like it was necessary. I didn't think anyone would read it. I didn't want to do it. So I went ahead and went through this process of digging up these memories and traumas and tragedies for about 28 of my 37 years, I had a trauma or tragedy consecutively every year in my life. So everything from molest to home invasions to deaths to death of a child to all kinds of things, eating disorders, gang involvement. There were all kinds of things that I have gone through and healed from. And I really think that's why God and the universe conspired against me to make me write this book, because like he said, healing brings healing.
Right.
Healed people heal people. And I know that that's what the motivation of this book is for. And it was a strenuous and simultaneously tedious process, because we repress memories that we don't realize we've repressed until we take ourselves back there. And there were times where he had to just take the laptop from me, because though I've been healed from some things, having to write it in such detail and picturing a reader who could potentially be dealing with these issues, I'm an empath, so putting myself in their shoes had me very emotional at times. And there were some nights he was just like, that's it for tonight, start again tomorrow.
Wow.
It was work. It was work.
Wow, I can only imagine. And speaking of that, you kind of alluded to the next question about, being able to have your readers kind of feel what it is that you went through. What do you want your readers to kind of take away from your story?
I want them to address things within themselves. It's not about me. I don't want them to take anything per se away from my story. I want them to reflect on their own stories and see where they might not be fully healed, see how different things that have happened in their lives affect the way they move today, see how traumas and tragedies that they've gone through affect relationships now, seeing how there was a connection that was made at a seminar I was just at this morning, where a lot of times women that have mother issues end up adults that don't have female friends because those issues were never addressed. Right. So those are the kinds of things I want people to hash out within themselves. Not just read my book and be entertained by it. No, read my book and get inspired to seek wholeness, because we all need to get there. We all are going through things. Every single one of us is going through something. So let's address those things. If that means using me as a resource to talk to, picking up the phone and calling your mother, whatever it is, finally forgiving your child's father, whatever it is, let's start addressing those things so that we can be functional people.
Right. And again, going back to what you said earlier, healed people. So if this is a resource or a tool that someone is reading your book to get healed, then obviously you've done your job. So again, a big congratulations and kudos.
Thank you.
And my hat goes off to anyone that is able to write a book, publish a book, because I know that process all too well.
It takes so much discipline.
Absolutely. Now, we've touched on things that have been very important to, both of you collectively. Is there anything else that you would like to let our viewers know that may be very important to you, or anything that you guys may have coming up?
Well, we have the next Open Bite Night.
We do have the next Open Bite Night.
Coming up May 13th.
Yes, May 13th. It is going to be held at the same neighborhood we always hold it, in Clifton Raider MLK neighborhood.
On the block.
Yes.
But
this one,
again.
we've upgraded again. So we moved from the corner to an entire block, and now we're doing it in an entire park. So it'll be at Flanner House in Watkins Park. And it's slated to be an amazing thing. We have something like 75 vendors right now.
Wow.
So we're excited, and I've got Claim the Throne Sunday. Things are just moving, and when we just can't stop them, and we don't want to stop them, we just want to press into it.
Then I have my first book signing, April 1st.
Yeah.
And it'll be, again, because it's not about me, I'm going to have books there available to sign and sell, but it's going to be more of an ask and share. Ask me questions, share your experiences, so we can start these conversations.
Right. Again, heal people.
That's right.
If you guys don't take anything else away, remember, heal people.
Yeah.
Lastly, since you guys have so much going on, and I'm sure that you want participation of the community, whether it's through funding or just simply coming out to be a part, how can people get in contact with you, either through a website or through social media?
We are on Twitter and Instagram at All Things Ro, ALL Things ROE, All Things Ro. That's also our website, is allthingsro.com. And then we have Begin to Grow on Instagram and Twitter, Grow Inc. on Facebook, and then Roe Townsend and Earl
pages.
Townsend. And I think that's all the ways they can contact us. Then the Open Bite Night has its own event page, so we're still taking vendors, contributions. There's ad space available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, Groe and Earl Townsend, thank you so much for joining us today on our season opener of Chats. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm personally looking forward to being at the Open Bite Night. I'm looking forward to tasting some of that food and also just, continuing to following you both. So thank you so much again.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. And to our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.